Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special edition of Asaph Cafe. This is our Mother's Day special. I'm your host, Asaph Adonai, and we have a special guest with us on this Mother's Day edition, Miss Candice Chapman here on my left. You can wave at that camera, Candy, if you want. And our veteran guest and our hostess, Patty Reed.
Hello, Mrs. Daltford. Say
And
hi,
then
happy birthday.
our mascot, Pee-wee. You can see him on camera there. And she's just chilling and relaxing. And
She's
since this is our Mother's Day special, we'll probably go to near an hour today. And I will start off with Sinatra's Night and Day.
Too bad you didn't have a picture of Frank Sinatra with his mom. We'll be including photos of celebrity mothers and their sons, like Barbara Streisand and her son, which I was amazed. He's good looking and he sings just like Barbara. She had a concert and he came on there and he goes, "You need anything, Mom?" I'm like, "See, adult sons, did you catch that? That adult son said, 'You need anything, Mom?'" Very important to follow those footsteps. Very important.
I didn't know that Frank Sinatra had well, of course he has a mother.
I don't know if they're still around kicking, but
I mean, back when he was alive. But
I didn't see very many of his portraits of his mother, which would be cool, which is a thought for YouTube to post a bunch on. Which all you mothers out there and grandmothers, if you'd like, you can send us your family photos, since we're going to go shoot this from now through probably May 12th, when it is officially Mother's Day next month. So I'll be showing you some of my photos of me and my children, my grandchildren, and Asaph will have pictures of his mother, and just fit right in and become a part of the MCAT family.
To get your mother.
And what I'm going to take Mom's picture and put it on the piano here.
Go for it.
You can have it.
Share that with the piano world there. You can see the candelabra there. Okay. So, ladies, we'll get started now and have some fun here. So, Candy, tell me a little bit about you, or I should say our television audience here. You're from Missoula? Are you from Missoula?
Actually, I've only been here like 7 years or so. I've lived all over the country, really.
Okay.
Most of the time in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, Tucson, Arizona.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I
was there for a while.
Very. When I was born in Okinawa, off the coast of Japan.
Okay.
To a military father.
Oh, you come from a military family too, then?
Yes.
So you and I have that in common, then.
Well, I mean, he retired very, very soon after I was born.
Okay, let me check. All hooked up.
Okay.
And Patty, I wanted to say thanks for the late Easter goodies you gave me last night.
Well, in my opinion about holidays, why not just celebrate it from the beginning to the end? That way you get more out of it than just one day out of the whole month. It makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, too, you can enjoy, because everything's very pricey, so that way you get a more value for your money, too.
Okay, yeah.
Then nobody misses anybody, even if they're staying home for Easter or whatever they're doing. There's a picture. I have pictures of my mom, but that one right there. This is a picture of my mom, but you probably can't see it very good, but she was having an off day on one of the parts. What I did is I took and made a photocopy album, since all the pictures were getting old and everything, and I thought I'd just put them there, go to Kinko's, and make colored photos. And I gave each one of my children, which they used to be this big, and it's kind of hard again. Maybe we can get one of our favorite people like Christian or Joel to zoom it in and help out with that. But I have 4, and they're all grown up now, and they have their own children, and they're so sophisticated. Some days they're not really sophisticated, but we play along, don't we, grandmas and moms? Yes, we do. Especially when their children are in their 20s, which my youngest son, he's 24, and that's Michael Brewer. And then Olivia Brewer is 26, and then my son that was born on my birthday, Brandon Brewer, who's a dragon and Leo, he has a son now, and he's a newcomer. And then Brian, my bad egg Brewer, who's in Colorado, Clifton, he has 3 sons. The irony is the first son looks just like me, so he can't get out of talking to his mother. It can be a roller coaster out there having your days, because each child, you know, when they're born, they're so beautiful and innocent, and it should stay that way, but it doesn't.
The perfect song. Do you know this song, Candy?
I've heard it.
Woody
I just can't
Woodpecker.
think. Oh, of
Woody
course.
Woodpecker.
Of course it is.
Oh yes. Can you do the laugh?
I
I can't do the laugh.
had to listen very intently.
Yeah, my weird version of the Woody Woodpecker theme.
He sounded kind of like a drill when he was laughing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice rendition.
Yeah.
So now you'll be able to say somebody played Woody Woodpecker's theme song
There.
on
Stay
television
there.
for you.
No.
And I thought it was a perfect song for Mother's Day to have fun with Woody Woodpecker.
Our song is more like a, remember the song that came out in the 70s, the Roller Coaster? Roller Coaster!
Oh yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do that song. And wasn't that the Ohio Players?
It might have been.
Yeah.
Earth, Wind, and
it
Fire?
was.
One of those groups like that?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
it was Ohio Players.
Because,
Well-
you know, when you're a mom and a grandma, it's a roller
Yeah.
coaster when you got the kids around.
Yes.
You never know.
Well, there were 3 prominent groups in those years. It was Ohio Players, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Tower of Power. You remember those groups? I think they were all around that era.
All dancing into,
Yeah.
you get up and dance. I like them.
That disco era. And I saw Tower of Power in concert years ago.
Ah.
And this was in California. Boy, they were good at that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I never got to see. Oh, there was another group, Kool and the Gang, too. I think they came up around that.
They're still putting things out occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're working.
Let's have fun with Too Hot from Kool and the Gang. Here's a little short version.
Haven't heard this song in a while.
Yeah.
Remember this in?
Yeah, I remember that one. I'm just trying to remember the words of it. I know the chorus pretty good. Ooh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too hot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me try it again. I'm trying to figure it out for the moment.
Oh,
We did it again.
it's too hot, too hot.
Hold on. I'll get to that part.
Magic of live television.
Okay, now that I've had time to toy with it, let me see if I can get it right now.
Okay. So it looks like your dog likes it when you sing, huh?
Oh yeah. She likes
Okay,
to
let's see
get
if I
up
can get
there.
it this time.
You ready to sing it? Okay, just go. Ow! Ow! Whoa, too hot, baby. Gotta run for shelter, gotta run for shade. Yeah, it's too hot, baby. Gotta clean the mess up, got this mess that we made so long ago. But I thought you were
Something like that. Well, that's the first
Well,
time.
see, Pee Wee's agreeing because to her it's too hot.
Yeah.
She likes the song now. She likes Taylor Swift's "Shake It Off" too. So when I give her a bath, she shakes it off.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that song,
Literally.
but I never actually played that song. I just was picking it out, just trying to pick out the chords in my mind. So if
I
really
played by
practiced
ear.
it, I'd probably be able to perfect it.
If you can play by ear, you can
It was
play
pretty
mostly
close,
any
though.
song.
Yeah, well, I had a pretty good idea how that song went, but anyway, that's Too Hot by Kool and the Gang. And you said they're still performing? After
Yeah.
all these years?
Yeah, once in a while you can see them. They've been on David Letterman, they've been on Jay Leno.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, they're still working on it. Yeah, I even seen, guess what, Brian Wilson. He's still, he went through a stroke and some things going
And he's
on.
still able to sing?
Yeah, he had an actual concert.
Oh, wow.
And one of the other Beach Boy members too. They were on there, and then they had some other newcomers on there.
Mhm.
Yeah, one guy, he's from, I think, the Middle East. His name is Sudan.
Mhm.
He was pretty good, too. He was singing some of the lead singings.
Oh,
That
cool.
was pretty cool.
Oh, that's neat.
And he's trying to do a little bit more jazzy music now, too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's experimenting.
Well, some of these groups, when they get older or whatever, they want to reinvent themselves, so they start doing stuff.
Well, he's still, Brian's
Yeah.
still doing the doo-wop part and everything like that. That's
Yeah,
still
I mean, they
his
do their
stuff.
old hits, but then they do new stuff, like Herb Alpert, for example, the famous trumpeter of the '60s. He was doing all that Tijuana brass. You see him on TV now; he's doing all this new stuff. I saw him on Craig Ferguson about a year ago, something like that. I don't know the name of the song, but it sure sounded good. It
Yeah.
was like this jazz tune that he was doing. And
That's really cool.
like really, really upbeat, hip jazz tune that he was doing. And then every once in a while, these artists still do their old hits and stuff, and then they mix up with the new stuff, so that's pretty cool,
Yeah, I was watching The Voice. I like to watch that.
Mhm.
And Christina Aguilera, she had came on the new one with Jimmy Fallon that took over for Jay Leno.
Mhm.
And they basically were doing a karaoke thing, and so she had to do a few songs from Shakira and some of the things. She goes la 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 la. She starts doing that. It was funny as heck. But she's made a good life for her. She just had another baby, and she's got a son that's 7, and he's a little daredevil, she calls him. So happy Mother's Day, Christina Aguilera.
I'm sure she'll appreciate it if she ever sees this show. You never know.
Look on YouTube.com. You will see the unbelievable.
Candy, you know this song?
Smoke gets in your eyes.
Yes.
Yes. Cannot think
Short
of the
version of that, smoke gets in your eyes, yeah.
Very nice.
But this is pretty cool, doing this for Mother's Day. So this show will be dedicated to all the moms that will be watching this by
You
the
must
time this
include
airs.
grandmas too.
Well, yeah, you can include grandmas. Grandmas were moms.
We'll even do a
but
Sprite commercial with it. There we go.
I'm sure Sprite will appreciate that. So,
Lemon lime.
but you're the second guest on our new set of this cafe show. We had Jeannie on last week, my next door neighbor. So we had a different set originally, and it got lost. So we have to use this new set, and it's pretty cool because it looks like we're in Seattle somewhere. It's a big high-rise.
We're in the Space Needle as we speak. You just don't know this.
Yeah, our version of Space Needle. So,
I see the Jetsons. There they are.
yeah.
They're over there. Oh my goodness, with Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire.
It
Good
is one hell of
Lord.
a view.
Oh my goodness. This is a real cool view.
Yeah, it's
Whose
really
line
nice.
is it anyway?
But it'll look like you've already seen. It'll be very crystal clear. And we'll get you a copy of this taping here.
Great, thank you.
We don't have a date when this will air. Probably not for what? When is Mother's Day? Like another month?
May 12th,
May
next
12th?
month.
Somewhere
Yeah.
like that.
So this is cool to do this show
We're
now.
getting an early start.
Yeah, and then when we do the second show, we just pick up where we left off, like before. Yeah, have 2 Mother's Day shows.
But just remember, moms and grandmothers, we get the whole damn month. We do. Don't let them kid you. They get 11 months, we get the 1 out of the 12. There we are.
Yeah. Now let's have some fun
Officially.
here. I'm gonna play an old Western, and I know you'll know it. Let's see if Candy will know it here.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. I'll do it again. You're close.
I'm close.
That's what I said the first time. too.
So,
It's a pretty song. That's the thing to a Western called the Virginian.
oh, of course.
I'll do it again. Now you'll probably recognize it.
Okay.
Was it James Conrad in that
My
one?
stepfather would know that show better than I do. Yes. He loves old westerns.
I think James Conrad was in that show. I think he was. James.
And
one
it had
that-
those
sure.
little striking chords at the beginning of that. But
James,
yeah, that's the Virginian.
James Conrad, I think he was in that, wasn't he? The one
No,
that
I
said,
think it was that really good-looking actor. If I can remember his name. Okay, if I think of his name, I see him right in my
was he
mind's
one that
eye.
played a Vinnie Spog on another one?
It's not Michael Landon, no.
No,
no.
not Michael Landon.
No. He
He's,
played Mr. Adams, the one I'm thinking of.
I don't know. There were so many of those, because when I was a little boy, they had a lot of westerns.
The Wild Wild West, he was on that one as Vinnie
That
Spog.
was Robert Conrad.
Robert Conrad, and then his co-star played Vinnie Spog.
I want to say James something, but I can't think. I guess it's right on
And
the
he
top of my
later
tongue.
that actor actually went on to play the Addams family with Angelica Houston.
I'm thinking James Caan. I mean, I know he was in some
No,
westerns.
it wasn't.
Well,
No,
a
it's
lot
not
of those
James Caan,
actors,
but
the actors of the past were probably on those westerns, and Patty and I talked about this before. There were a lot of westerns when we were growing up, and my personal favorite was The Rifleman.
Ah.
Chuck Connors, yeah.
Yeah, and my birth mom, since we're talking about Mother's Day, she was into Gunsmoke. Jane
So
Fonda.
is my dad.
And that was her favorite western. And like I said, I had a hard time getting into Festus' character. Back to you. But he was a fine actor. Ken Curtis, he was a fine actor. But,
I want to see what he acted like off the camera, though.
Well, you could probably look him up. I'm sure they probably have some stuff about him on YouTube
Yeah.
these days now, because they have like all those.
Yeah,
shows
because
in the past.
BTV
on
has
YouTube.
brought everything back, including the Carol Burnett show and everything like that.
Yeah, but there were a lot of westerns. There was like, oh goodness,
Clint
Rawhide, Clint Eastwood.
Eastwood. Yeah.
And of course, the Star Trek with William Shatner, that came out in that era. But I think their original premise was something like the Western to the stars,
Oh.
stars in space.
okay.
Oh, my
Well, here's my version
No,
of Star
stay
Trek.
down. Stay down.
God. Talking about westerns, I don't know if Smiley Burnett was in a western, but many, many years ago, way before I was born, of course, my grandparents used to own a few movie theaters. And one of them was in Yates Center, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
And Smiley Burnett showed up to their movie theater during a promotional tour. And there is a picture of my mother as a young toddler being held by Smiley Burnett.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
That's cool. That's really cool. My dad used to watch Hee Haw all the time, too. He liked that. I always waited for him to sing the theme, but he never did.
I hardly remember the words of the theme.
Hee Haw! Yeah, my dad likes Bonanza with Lauren Green, and he likes James Ernest and Gunsmoke, and he likes to watch Rawhide, and then there was the one called The Fugitive. I think it was not The Fugitive,
Yeah,
but
David Jansen, the actor, yeah.
yeah, they had that one, and then there was another one with not James Dean, but the next Rebel. But he played a bounty hunter, and he went from town to town. And then they had one called, I think it was called The Rebel, where this guy, he basically gets done being the Civil War, and then he goes from town to town, and he finds out all these misfits in every town. So he tries to set things legally right.
Oh, I'm sorry. There it is.
Dan Aykroyd would be upset with you. He'd be speaking for him and John Belushi. How dare you miss that?
Well, Rawhide is not exactly a piano song, you know, so I'm just kind of picking this stuff out, but,
Well, they had a scene on the Blues Brothers movie where Dan Aykroyd and, I think it was, what's his name? John Goodman. They came out and they were on the stage, and then they had the scene from Rawhide with all the lightning and the dead cattle running and stuff behind them. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Lots of theatrics, very, very
you
good.
may know this song here.
It sounds familiar, yet not.
Yep, that's from the Blues Brothers.
Mm-hmm. You know the title?
Oh, yes. Minnie the Moocher.
You're right, Minnie the Moocher.
Yes.
Maybe
I love that movie, by the way.
if I'd heard the
We were
words.
talking
I'd
about
forget
the
it.
Blues Brothers, so I started playing that. It was Minnie the Moocher, Cab Calloway.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Cab Calloway.
Okay.
That's
You know,
cool.
Cab Calloway, when he was 80 years old, he came to California, came to Sacramento when they had the, it was a Sacramento Auditorium at the time.
Mhm.
And he packed the house just so people could hear him sing Minnie the Moocher, which eventually he did.
That's cool.
And another famous person I once saw in concert, Petula Clark.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
She's
they,
cool.
in-
She sang
in-
downtown.
Yeah,
a
in
whole bunch of
Sacramento, they
stuff.
had what's called an outdoor mall at the K Street Mall in Sacramento. It's like Southgate Mall, but it's literally outdoors. You know, like you're outdoors and you go into different stores.
Right.
So they set up this little stage, and she made an appearance there. And of course, eventually she sang downtown. But when she did this extended version.
Oh, that would
Downtown.
have been cool.
Well, yeah, because, you know, Petula Clark, she didn't want to disappoint. And I remember watching her. This was years ago. This must have been about 30, almost 40 years ago, something like that. And I remember watching this lady on stage when she was singing that, and I was like, I can't believe I'm watching Petula Clark in real life, because she had that gorgeous blonde hair then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And she's like singing that.
And that we just, the guy that sang Sam, I can't think of his name, Wells, I think his name is. He sang When a Man Loves a Woman. He just, recently, he passed on.
Oh.
Yeah. They had a
Talking
big...
about the guy last night. I think that's
Percy Sledge.
Yeah, Percy Sledge. Yes.
Percy Sledge, okay. Yeah.
I'll do that for you in a bit.
Okay. Stay, Pee-wee.
I think so.
You got to get on your nose, and on the nose and go downtown. He's waiting for you downtown. They will be waiting for you downtown. They are waiting for you.
But yeah, I actually saw Petula Clark sing that song in real life. So that was a treat. And it was
She's working
packed.
it on getting to you.
Yeah, it was really packed, and it wasn't like a seated concert. I mean, they had a stage, a really nice, beautiful stage where she appeared. So everybody just stood around, you know. They had this big opening at the K Street Mall there, and so there was like probably hundreds of people there,
Jeez.
you know, just watching her, plus the people who were walking by, you know, going to different stores and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was way cool, and Petula
Oh,
Clark
yeah, a
was
lot of
there.
energy.
It was a packed stance instead of a house compared to Cab Calloway, who actually packed them in at the Sacramento Auditorium at that time. And it's cool when you see these famous people that you see on television or in the movies, and they do these concerts, and when they do their hits, and they do extended versions, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
So Petula Clark did not disappoint, and everybody was like,
I've been in those spots. Those are really
Yeah.
cool spots. Especially when you're not expecting everybody to, you hit a certain note and everybody starts going, woo! And then you lose your place. You got to
Yeah.
catch yourself in seconds.
"You're gonna be okay there? Is she gonna be okay?"
Oh, yeah. She's just feeling the heat. I think it's all the lights and stuff.
Yeah, well, I know that can't be avoided because you wouldn't be seen without the lights, so we have to have that. And I told Candy it's going to get a little
She's
warm.
just hot and bothered. Don't.
Yeah. Maybe give her a little treat there or something.
Can she have muffins?
Not really, no.
Okay.
But she sure is a cute little dog, so Pee-wee's a little mascot for Asaph Cafe. Why don't you have Pee-wee say hi at the camera there if you can hold her up there?
Hello, everybody! Happy Mother's Day and Grandmother's Day! Woohoo! There you go.
I can take her out if you want.
Pee-wee. Pee-wee. No, we're not running around. She wants to run around.
Oh.
Want to say?
Is she hiding me? Is she gonna hide?
There you go.
How much is that doggy in the window?
We're passing the
Hi,
dog.
sweet boy. Hi.
Yeah, Pee-wee's a sweet little dog, so she just is a delight when she's on. And she's a little active today. I guess that's good. Usually she's like so laid back when we do these cafe shows.
Oh, she's just happy to see somebody new.
Yeah.
It's her vitamins.
Well, Candy,
Aw.
thanks for being part of our show today. And
Well, thanks for having me.
especially our Mother's Day edition. So 20 years from now, you're going to be able to look back at this and say, wow.
Well, my
You're
mom's
right,
going to be
Asaph
very
Cafe.
surprised when she sees the DVDs, so.
Yeah, you'll get the DVD later
Oh,
on this
make sure you say
afternoon.
hi to your mom while you have the
Well, why
chat.
don't you wave in that
So-
camera and say hi to your mother since it's Mother's Day?
Hi, Mom.
And I'm going to say hi to my mom. She's on the piano here. I have two moms. My birth mother, her name is Primrose. And my mom here, her name is Lois.
And my mom is in heaven. Hi, Mom in heaven.
I'm sure she's probably
She's
looking
my
down
guardian
and seeing,
angel.
And my
But
mother.
anyway,
Oh,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. My mother here. My mother is here with my stepfather.
Mhm.
Her name is Ruth Ann Sjogren.
Oh, great, great. So your family will see this, and this will actually air on channel 189 when it actually goes on regular television.
Okay.
If you have Charter, ladies and gentlemen, you can see this show coming up
Come on,
on
Kenny.
Charter. If you have Charter cable, it's channel
Stay.
189, the
You stay
MCAT
there.
channel.
Stay.
And if you don't have that, you can go to mcat.org. Sorry about that. mcat.org and click Watch Now simultaneously at the same time and see it when it airs.
Or YouTube, Asaph's Cafe.
Yeah, well, it'll eventually be on YouTube too. So this is
If you want to say hi to me, it's Pat Reed 2001 at AOL.com.
and this is Asaph Cafe. We're in our third season doing this show. This is episode number 36. So you're our second guest as far as our new set here. So and,
Mothers
it's
and
cool.
grandmothers, remember this. We can take back America. We have 30 days.
Okay, so this show will be kind of more calm and just low key because it's Mother's Day. I mean, we're not going to be talking topics like Wonder Woman and Superman and mail order brides and all those kind of topics that we
Or
talked
Mrs.
about.
Doubtfire. Hello!
We talked about
everybody.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
I have danced with a vacuum before.
That was such a cool film. We
Sucks.
talked
It's a
about that
Hoover.
once before, Mrs. Doubtfire. That was such a funny film to me. You know what impressed me about that film?
Him dancing with a broom.
No, remember
Oh.
at the beginning, before he becomes, Robin Williams' character becomes Mrs. Doubtfire, and they're in the recording studio doing the voices for,
Oh, for the
cartoon.
cartoons, yeah.
and he was doing Figaro. That was pretty impressive.
Hmm.
That was really impressive.
That's when we
he
know
was
he's
singing-
Italian and
actually
Irish.
singing the Figaro, Barbara Seville Figaro, at the beginning of the film, in sync with the cartoon that they saw on the screen.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very impressive because, Robin Williams is not an opera singer, obviously, but he has a decent enough voice that when he was doing that, it was impressive.
He's really good at impersonation, though. He's
No,
really
he
good.
was singing. I think it was his natural voice for
Yeah.
this scene.
Yeah, it was.
But it was Figaro Barbara Seville. And
I liked him
was
when he did the
impressed.
video of Dude Looks Like a Lady. He did very good with the broom as the electric guitar. Very
Yeah.
good.
It was just impressive to me because, like, it's kind of fun when you see an actor that's not known for singing, do
Yeah.
something from an aria or something like that. And of course, you can't have Robin Williams sound like Pavarotti, obviously.
No, but he'd try. He should. He'd dress
It
up
was
too.
very good. It was very impressive. Just the pronunciation of the Italian words and everything for that scene.
I think though when he tried to look drag as Barbara Streisand, it wasn't him.
Well, maybe not, but I mean,
That's why
it
it
was
was good for a
very- it
few
was
seconds.
very- but that scene of Mrs. Doubtfire is very impressive to me. And that's what made me start watching that film, actually, when they first had that on, because that's at the very beginning of the movie, way before he becomes Mrs. Doubtfire. And,
Well, he deserved the awards he got because
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there's a lot of single fathers that get in circumstances during a divorce that the children and the fathers they kind of get torn apart emotionally, and and it was nice that the character of Sally Fields actually and it said she took pity, but she's seen what was really going on by her trying to blockade everything and not keep some things natural. And I think that's a good thing for people to watch in that if they're going through a divorce, how to handle that type of situation and more of that kind of manner. So then everybody wins. The children win, both spouses win, and they can go on with life.
Well, that was kind of a
actually.
positive thing, how that family was able to stay together through Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
And of course, watching the kids, on the show, watching their father on television and the wife. I think it brought that family together too, through this character that was created.
Yeah, and the little girl that played the youngest, who
Mm-hmm.
now plays sometimes Madeline, she was adorable.
Yeah.
She looked just like Robin Williams too, so that's why it was so believable.
That's probably why they cast this actress, this child actress, for that scene.
She did. She just looked just like his.
And Robin Williams, he left a great legacy behind as far as all of his movies. But I really liked him in.
He has
Doubtfire.
children too. He
Yeah.
has children,
And that's going to be a
and they're
wonderful
kinda
thing
like
because his
him.
children in real life will always be able to look back. and
his
see their father
daughter
in
right
film.
now is doing a lot of speaking for him and why she feels that he committed suicide. I feel that the last sitcom he was in, I feel that he probably wanted to modify his character. And the writers of the show and the directors said, no, that's not a good idea. But I think with
But
his
see, we weren't there.
imagination-
We'll never really know. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't know what's in a person's heart sometimes. And
Yeah.
perhaps Robin Williams was dealing with things that the world will never know. But he did leave a great legacy behind as far as those pictures.
Yeah.
And so
I found that too, that he was 100% dyslexic. So I understand that too, because I'm mildly dyslexic. So in that world, everything has two meanings.
Yeah, but I'm not here to cast stones with the actor Robin Williams. He did leave some great movies, and I liked him in Popeye too. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that was an Academy Award-winning performance, but I liked it because I'm into those sort of things like Underdog and
Yeah,
all
he was
that.
very
Just
animated.
have fun with Popeye.
Yes, I enjoyed him in dramas too.
Oh yeah,
Yes, of course, like Dead Poet Society.
yeah, he was really good in that.
And I can't remember.
And there was
this-
one where he played a doctor, and then he dressed up like a clown to make everybody laugh because they were.
Yes,
patients.
Patch Adams, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes.
Patch
Yeah.
Adams was a very good one.
Well, of
He
course, some of his
did a-
films were more, I guess, serious than the Popeye. But it was fun to see that because, like, if you have children, you can see this adult version of the Popeye.
He did really good as Aladdin's the genie.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was really good at that. He was really
So,
good.
and who knows when
Can
Father's
do you
Day
know the
comes,
genie song?
I could pick it up.
Mr. Aladdin, sir. Do, 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 do.
Close enough. I Dream of Jeannie.
No, wrong genie song.
Oh, not I Dream of Jeannie.
No.
Close
We're
enough.
Close.
We're
No, I
talking
don't know-
about
I don't know
Aladdin.
the other one. No, I
Mr.
picked it up.
Aladdin, sir, can I take your message, please?
Okay.
You ain't
well,
never had a friend, never had a friend like me.
I'd have to probably work on that one because I don't really know that one. But I Dream of Jeannie. That was a fun show. You
Oh, with
remember that
Larry
show?
Hagman?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I once said my favorite episode of I Dream of Jeannie was the one when Major Nelson becomes a concert pianist. Did
Oh,
you ever see that
yeah.
one?
I remember that one. And he
I
tried to
do
also be
really.
a singer, a different episode where he was trying to be a singer.
Well, this one here with the concert pianist, Jeannie blinks herself to the Air Force Base to ask Major Nelson what he wanted for dinner, and he goes, "You came all the way out here just to ask me that?" And he was standing next to this little spinet piano, And then all the Air Force officers came around. Hey, Tony, play something. And Jeannie blinks the piano. So when he sits down, he becomes this instant virtuoso.
I remember that. And he was smoking. His fingers
Yeah,
was
he was
smoking.
playing Chopin and all this stuff. And so then, what is that? Dr. Bellows and the general heard him. He said, hey, you're too good to be being an astronaut. We're going to book you at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
So it's funny because he couldn't really play, but as long as he sat in front of that particular piano, he was like Rubinstein or Liberace or something. It was really funny. And then there was a scene where this African-American kid had gotten control of the piano, and so he didn't sit in front of the piano, he just had it in his room. And so Jeannie and Major Nelson and Major Healy, they go up to this little boy, please sell us this piano. We really need this piano for this concert. And the kid's like squeezing all the money he can out of them. So it was really funny. He's like, what, do you want to take advantage of a little kid? Look at the chassis on this piano. And he was just using those terms just to get more money.
Yeah.
And so finally Jeannie says, little boy, you really don't want this piano? He goes, no, but I just want the money from your anxious friends. Now, if there was a trumpet, they wouldn't stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And the little boy says, I always wanted to play the trumpet, but my mom says it smashes your teeth in Mother's Day, you know. So Jeannie blinks this trumpet and says, okay, we'll give you this trumpet plus the money if you let us have the piano. So that kid gives him the piano. And he turns into a virtuoso on the trumpet when he's playing. And it was just really funny. And so then, at the conclusion of this episode, Major Nelson's at Carnegie Hall, right?
Yeah.
And he's sitting in front of this like concert grand piano, and Jeannie had gotten trapped into this safe, so she couldn't get out to help him. So he's up there playing chopsticks like this, and he's butchering. He's like butchering chopsticks, and everybody's like, what happened to him? And finally, Jeannie gets out the safe, and she blinks herself to Carnegie Hall. And they move the concert grand, they put that little spinet, and then of course Major Nelson starts playing all his Chopin and stuff like he did at the bass. And everybody's going like this.
Oh, so it's the piano he has. Okay.
But then there was a thing at the end where the piano was going to explode. So when he gets to the end, he plays like the minute waltz, Chopin's minute waltz, like in double time. And of course, I'm sure that what the trick they did was probably superimposed or whatever, speed up the song. But it was really funny. That was a very funny episode to me.
They did a spin-off kind of like that on Bewitched too. There was a scene where Darren was put in a certain circumstance where he had to sing and he had to play piano, and he really didn't want to. And of course, Samantha had an argument with her mother again, and so there was a curse. The mother put a curse on Darren. No matter where he passed, he'd have to sit down and play piano. Finally, this little black boy. He was really depressed and everything, and his dad wanted to give him a piano, but he couldn't afford it. So Sam goes, Mother, you've got to really take this off of Darren. So finally she goes, okay, I guess, so Darwood.
Okay, Dogwood, yeah. So she takes it off of him.
Yeah, and they end up giving the piano to the little boy.
Yeah. Well,
he could play really good too, so he needed it.
Whatever, your favorite show of that time, I always got a kick out of I Dream of Jeannie. And of course, the actress Barbara Eden was such a...
They had an argument about her belly button.
Yeah, well, they had some censor laws at that time, so... It's like in that Funicello when she did those beach movies with Frankie Avalon, I think was his name.
Yeah.
They couldn't show the belly button.
Yeah.
And of course, Walt Disney was kind of responsible for that too, because he asked her to cover that up because she was like the original Disney child, so they wanted to protect that image, and of course she complied.
And no cleavage either.
Oh no, they did not do that in those days.
No.
Not like Beyonce, flapping her backside, or Nicki Minaj. And I'm not picking on these people. I know that's the style.
Yeah.
But in those days, it was tame. So.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but Annette Funicello back in those days, she was only 16, maybe 17 years old.
You mean when they did those beach movies?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because she was on the Mickey Mouse Club, the original Mickey Mouse Club. When she was something like 12 or something.
Jimmy Fallon was making fun of Kristen. Was making fun of Christine Aguilera, and he goes, "You remember Justin Timberlake, don't you, from the Mickey Mouse days?" She's like, "Yeah." And back then, we still wasn't allowed to do certain things.
She wasn't starting to ask about Britney.
I know, she's the only one that kept it mentally together pretty much most of the time without getting too much controversy. And then Justin kind of is second, and Britney, back of the bus.
Jeez. I think Disney was trying to recreate that Frankie and Annette thing with Justin and Britney. And Justin was okay. Britney went
Justin
south.
was doing not too bad until he got caught up in the football scandal.
Well, whatever you think about Britney Spears, I think she's a fine singer, especially when she first burst on the scene. I saw the concert. She must have been about maybe 16 years of age, 15.
She's just sowing her oats, we'll call it.
When she was first coming on the scene, and it was pretty good, actually, vocally.
Yeah, it was innocent and a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but now she's sowing her oats.
It was sort of like the Mickey Mouse Club, and when I saw that, I thought I can see why this young woman went on to make it. It was very good vocally. She was singing, I guess, those songs geared to teenagers at that time.
Oh yeah. Now it's geared to teenagers and 20-year-olds.
It was very good. She wasn't swinging on a ball and chain like Miley Cyrus at that time.
She has to sing some other songs now.
I just guess that's the style, but yeah, it was fun watching Britney Spears when she was a young woman, late teenager, singing.
I'd like to see what kind of mother songs she comes up with. So Brittany, here's a challenge for you, Miss Spears. Come up with some mother-child songs. I can't wait to hear it.
Well, hey, you never know. She might see this show one day, and she might just do that a few years from now.
You too, Christina Aguilera. Here's a voice for you.
Yeah. There's so many of those young singers coming up, it's hard to know them all. And their music, to me anyway, is pretty much the same.
Well, I just seen an interview with on Santana. And he is a very, very, great guitarist. I mean, he's up there with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eric Clapton, very up there. And the guy it was funny because the gentleman that's questioning him is a celebrity. So PBS started doing celebrity versus celebrity and interviewing. One does the interview and the other one just sits there and does the interview. And he goes, so Santana, what is it that gives you inspiration? He goes, when the soul and the heart connect with the mind. That's when you can actually.
Is he still performing?
Oh yeah. He's writing songs. He helped a lot of new singers out.
I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's probably done that all his life.
That song, Little Bit of This. Little Bit of This. That one, he helped that one out. Singer out.
Well, we can't forget Mick Jagger. I'll do a short version of Painted Black.
Oh, here we are, Mickey.
Painted Black for Mother's
Mickey,
Day,
give a kiss to your mommy.
He's still going. He is.
They're doing a tour again.
Last year, though, I went to go see Paul McCartney.
Oh, did you?
At the Adams Center.
Did you know what's funny? It was on my birthday.
It was?
August 5th, yeah.
Did you go, or?
No, I wasn't able to make it.
Well, that was an impressive show. It really was.
Of course, if you want to watch an outdoor concert, all you have to do is stand on the road and watch the big screen.
Yes, and also I heard over at the M they were doing that too. The M, they were doing that too.
Oh, were they?
Well, I wouldn't say they were watching a screen. They were just watching the stadium. Maybe they were watching a screen.
It's kind of a screenplay.
It's like 26,000 people in the stadium. Don't know how many people are outside it, just to be seen.
Yeah, if you got into the hood of your vehicle, you're doing good. It's an open seat right there.
Well, that's one nice advantage of riding the bus. You don't have to find a parking space.
No, you don't.
I mean, I've heard people were there early in the morning just to get a parking space.
Oh, wow.
And stayed in their cars.
Yeah, it's a drive-in.
There you go. Painted Black.
Very good.
Classical Liberace style version.
They'll bring it up.
Very
again.
nice.
I think I got more hits on the computer with that song. I have like individual videos, individual songs. And I think my version of Painted Black probably has more hits than any song I've ever done.
It was a challenge
including
worth waiting
Beethoven's
for.
Moonlight Sonata, so I guess Mick Jagger would be proud of that.
The publicity does him good.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's a legacy that he'll leave behind. I have a clip of a young Mick Jagger singing that on the Ed Sullivan Show,
Yeah.
60s. He looks like a teenager almost.
Him and Steve from Aerosmith, Steve Tyler, they could be cousins. They really good. They got that look.
Well, you know, they just announced on the world news that Mick Jagger is a great grandparent. Can you believe that?
No.
This was on the world news. They're like, Mick Jagger now becomes a great grandparent.
Oh, that's right. He got
Great.
divorced, huh? He had some love children out there.
Well,
There's
I'm
a
not
lot
interested in
of
that
kids.
aspect. But what I'm saying is,
A lot of baby mamas.
well, that's his thing. But it's just impressive that he could be considered a great grandparent and have the #1 rock band in the whole world still going strong. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I know.
Well,
I get
keeping
to be,
Keith Richards in check, that's a lot to work right there.
Well, I don't
Yes.
think I'm going to be parading around on stage when I get his age on a piano. Probably not, but that's pretty impressive in a way.
Well, music actually keeps you young, so it doesn't matter how old you are.
Maybe it's
If you
keeping
can
him
sing
young, I don't
something,
know, but
yeah, if you can
Yeah.
sing something, you're doing good.
it makes you wonder what he must be thinking in the privacy of his thoughts at night. Like
I got this far. Wow.
Look in the mirror here. I'm getting older. And I can't believe I'm still running on stage.
Let's see. What song should I come up with at this moment?
I don't think it's going to matter.
The
I
Man
think
in the
Mick Jagger
Mirror.
could sing Mary Had a Little Lamb, and people would go to hear him sing it.
I could see him singing "Man in the Mirror."
Yeah.
Well, one trick I've noticed in rock concerts over the years, you know how artists will have sometimes have the entire crowd sing the whole song, and you kind of wonder, you think they forgot the lyrics?
No, I think there's a trick to that.
They didn't
Julie
get any
Andrews
ginger
talked-
or lemon juice that day.
Andrews
No
talked about
honey.
something like that, similar to that. I think it's called. There's a term for it. Speaking
Audience
the song or
participation.
something. You know, when you have the audience, or you're not singing
Echo.
the musical
It's
notes,
an
but
echo.
you're speaking the words of the song. Some sort of a technique. I can't think of the name, but I heard her talk about that in interviews. And maybe that's what they're doing in these rock concerts. And I think it's
A
a,
solo
way to.
performance.
I think it's a way for the crowd to have fun and be part of it. Because let's face it, when you see a famous person,
It's called
doing their
acapello.
hits,
It's being acapello.
they're not gonna do it like when it first came out. That would be impossible because they were in a studio setting with the sound right. So when they do it live, everybody just wants the thrill of seeing them, sing it live. So.
Yeah.
So if the famous person just has the audience participate, that's pretty cool.
Well, they do it a lot of times too to see if the audience, their fans, are really have been appreciative of the songs they put out.
They
and
do.
see
There are a
if they have
lot of
memory, 'cause,
performers
it's
that
amazing.
do
It's
that.
just really
Tom
cool.
Jones, for example, he must have sang that song. It's not unusual. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of times throughout his career,
Yes.
and it never gets old. It's always fun to watch Tom Jones sing that song. Let's see.
It's not unusual
Yeah,
to
and
be
he must have
loved by
fun,
anyone.
singing that. And then like if he gets to the audience, they're like singing the words because they've heard it like a zillion times.
Yeah.
It's fun. My birth mom was a big fan of Tom Jones.
My mom too. She loves. She's a lady.
Yeah, and
Love
remember
that
when
one.
Tom Jones had that television special? I think it was
Yeah.
in the early
He always came out in
70s.
black like Johnny Cash.
Yeah, and my mom
Big
would
belt
be,
buckle.
she'd be watching Tom Jones iron our clothes and she'd be crying. And one day I walked to tell her, Mom,
I love the
crying.
Englishman.
I'm
I
praying
love
for
him. I love him.
And, that was a wonderful thing, I think, because, Tom Jones was singing all those sexy songs and looking really, well, he's still handsome now, but I mean, when you're
Yeah.
younger and you got that look
Yeah.
and got that voice.
My mom got to go
And,
to a
uh,
concert in Las Vegas of Elvis, and she
Oh,
caught the
really?
towel.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was like thrilled. She framed it.
Some of those towels actually go for a little bit of money now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I was teasing her. I go, well, he sweated it out for you.
Yeah, it's six. I read in a book quite a few years ago. Elvis Presley was describing how that first time he actually came across Tom Jones, and he confused him. He said, I thought he was African American." I'm like, I made that same mistake too.
I think he's
Yeah.
Polish.
Yeah,
No, he's Welsh.
Oh,
Yeah,
Welsh,
he's Welsh.
okay.
Yeah.
I can see, where somebody can make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because of his hair, yeah.
Tom Jones, I think he's very handsome today, the way he is now today, but he was very handsome as a young man, I have a clip of him on the Ed Sullivan Show singing It's Not Unusual in my collection, because I have over 300 VHS movies at home, but they're put in drawers. So I have a very young Tom Jones singing that song on the Ed Sullivan Show. And,
He had the hip thing going too.
yeah, he just, wearing that outfit. When you're young, you got all that full head of hair, and it just, it's like comes out, did it, and everybody's like,
I was probably thought he had a little bit of competition. A little bit.
Yes.
A what?
A little bit of competition. A little bit.
Well, perhaps. I think it was fun, friendly competition. I don't think it was like that jealousy. Because, in the 60s and 70s, there were so many performers. Engelbert Humperdinck. Engelbert.
Blooper!
Yeah. Whatever.
See, how did he ever come across that name? Was he born with that, or?
But, he was quite an impressive singer, too.
Yes.
What was his biggest hit? Please Release Me, I think was the name of that song.
I think so.
Yeah, it goes something like this.
Pretty simple.
Please let me go.
Something like that.
He should have
Pretty
played.
melody.
Yeah, it is.
When I think of that song, I think of it being the national anthem for divorce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so you had Engelbert, and then what were some of the other singers of the late 60s, early 70s?
Tony Bennett,
Well, yeah, Tony
Frank
Bennett.
Sinatra.
Well, Tony Bennett is still going strong at, God bless him. He's like,
He's got a good coach now, Lady Gaga.
well, I think it's probably the other way around, really.
Well, yeah, he's teaching her to tone it down. And
But Tony Bennett, though, he's always been a very amazing person to me.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember when he was younger, when he was always on television singing those hits.
Mhm.
And now he's, 81 or 82 or something
Oh,
like
God,
that, and he
yeah.
is still sounding great.
Yes.
and he's getting younger by the day now.
Yeah, he's not showing no signs of slowing down. In fact, when he does his concerts, he just packs them in.
PBS had a concert of him and Lady Gaga on there, and those dresses brought him back to life so good.
Well, perhaps, but it was impressive.
Oh, he didn't miss a beat.
No,
He still has energy.
Well, Frank Sinatra once called Tony Bennett the greatest popular singer ever. That's quite a compliment coming from
Frankie.
Frank
yeah.
Sinatra.
Yeah.
That's what he said about Tony Bennett. He called Tony Bennett the greatest popular singer, popular music ever. And I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's, because,
Well, he had Bing Cosby. He was hanging there, but he kind of
well,
phased
yeah,
out,
but
too.
come on, you can't compare Bing Crosby to Tony Bennett. Come on. And I'm not trying to pick on
Right.
Bing Crosby, but there's only one Tony Bennett, so.
Yeah, there
Well,
is.
Bing Crosby, that's more of a different genre.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was more in the big band era, the crooner years, I believe they called
Yeah.
it.
Early Frankie Sinatra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the most impressive performance of Frank Sinatra I ever saw was in the movie Till the Clouds Roll By in 1946. His rendition of Old Man River. Oh, goodness, you should see that.
Oh.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. That must have been Sinatra at his best of best as far as the crooner years, before he changed the style of singing to the swinging singing, they called it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sings Old Man River in that film Till the Clouds Roll By. Oh, my goodness. You should see that. And there's like this note that he holds at the end of that. Really long,
Oh, yeah. What's all I can
long
build to
tone note at the end of that. But yeah, there were a lot of great singers, and so I'm not picking on any particular singer, but I think Tony Bennett, I think there's a lot of truth with him being probably the
He's
greatest
determined.
singer.
And then I thought
Popular
Andy
music.
Williams was a kind of a little bit less of Tony Bennett, but he's pretty good too.
Well, they were all great. And nobody sang Moon River like Andy Williams.
He actually,
And,
he had a boys band with his brothers at first, and then
Yeah.
then he went off on his own. But they had their Christmas specials together. Where they
Yeah,
had
and I
the
used to watch
family.
those Andy Williams Christmas specials, and
Those
they were
were
always
awesome.
fun. I always looked forward to them every year. And
They harmonized so well together.
yeah,
They could have stuck together. They were teasing the Osmond brothers. They had an episode once where they invited all the Osmond brothers on there, and they're really young. They were still kids, and they were going, "If you guys keep this up, you could be like us someday."
Well, I think Donny Osmond and his sister Marie, I think they succeeded in that.
Yeah, they did.
And the rest of the Osmond
They
family.
made their mom.
I think it's the same
proud.
assumption they succeeded there.
They made their moms proud.
Oh, sure. Can you imagine being the parents of the Osmonds when they were little children?
Oh my
Watching
goodness.
their babies on
I've been so
Andy
proud.
Williams on television at that
I've
time.
been singing along in the audience going, "There's my babies."
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
they must have
Sing,
been
boys.
really proud as parents.
Oh yeah.
Even if they didn't show it, I mean, they had to be.
Their mom ate real good while she's pregnant.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, but no, I mean, just think about it. Any parent or mother that has their children on national television when they're little.
Well, see, that's like my mom. My mom would always be singing, doing the laundry or baking or whatever she was doing in the house. She was singing. So I'm pretty sure that their mom did a lot of singing or their dad did a lot of singing. And they're going, "Well, that's kind of a cool song. I'll try it too." And that's what got them going.
Yeah,
'Cause they
and it
copied.
was always fun watching the Donnie and Marie show. As
Yeah.
it was
I'm a
later
little bit
on.
country and a little bit rock and roll.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it was fun watching Donnie and Marie. It was fun watching the Jacksons too, the Jackson Five. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
all
That,
those-
that was a healthy rivalry.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it was probably fun.
No offense, but it was a
rivalries.
black and white situation. Just joking.
No, Donnie probably called Michael and said, "Hey, Michael, I want to congratulate you on your show." I don't know, but it was fun watching all those shows. And do you remember that?
I would
the
think- I
Jackson
always thought it
Five
would've been
cartoon
cool if
that
they-
had.
Yeah, I remember the cartoon.
I was-
Yeah, and I
It
know
came out
Donnie
the same
Marie
time with
had
the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, about the same time. Or maybe
Yeah, I
before
don't
that.
remember the year, but that was all delightful entertainment, and it was so much to choose from in those years. Watching that. But getting back to the Osmond family, Mrs. Osmond must have been very, proud of
I'm
her
pretty
kids.
sure she was proud. I would.
And I'm sure Mrs. Jackson had to be equally proud of her children as a mom.
I always thought it was funny when Donnie Marie had their show that they could have invited Michael on there. I thought that would have been cool, and his brothers.
Well, maybe there might have been some scheduling. We don't know. We weren't there, but
Right.
it was fun to watch all those shows. And I had a point I was going to make as far as being a mom. I guess if you're a mom and you have a
You have to
child
cook
that
large,
becomes
too.
really famous, you're very blessed, very humble.
Yeah.
Can you imagine raising the Osmond children or the Jackson children?
Oh, I can
As far
imagine
as
the
being a
holidays.
mother?
Lots
Yeah,
of
you
food.
know, Mrs. Jackson probably cooked a lot of
They
food, not only for her children,
Probably sat
but
together and sang a lot of Christmas
relatives
carols.
and friends that came over. That must have been a real fun time every Mother's Day, I would imagine.
I would think so. I would think
The
so.
same with the and you ever wonder if Donnie and Marie ever had a clash when they weren't on camera? Hey, I'm a better singer than you. Well, yeah, I'm better
Of course,
looking
they're
than
brother
you.
and sister.
Brother and
That's
sister.
a brother
That-
and sister rivalry thing. That happens all the
Yeah.
time.
But
I know. I'm the youngest of four or three, and my two older brothers always got me to argue with them. Always. They were trying to steal my cool shirts or something. 'cause
But you know how I got hooked on the country setting? I'm not talking about country music. I'm talking about the scenery. They had an episode on the Donnie and Marie show where, if I remember correctly, Marie was introducing what it's like to live in the country, and Donnie was portraying what it's like to live in a big city,
Right.
and they were making the contrast.
Mhm.
When I saw Marie Osmond singing about the country life, I thought, I'd like to live in the country one day. And of course, I'm in Montana now, so I guess that's close.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
close.
You can't get any further. You'll be in Canada if you go any further.
And I always appreciated Donny Osmond's vocal singing. I'm not a singer, but it was always fun to watch him. And do you remember when Donny Osmond hosted the 10,000, was it the Pyramid Game?
Oh,
The one that
the
Dick Clark
100,000,
did, 100,000?
Yeah.
100 grand game, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had a clip on there when it was going off, and Donny Osmond actually sang a few words to a song at the end of that. After the person that won, I think, the 100 grand or whatever it was. And I thought that was very impressive. Just a few little lines, all by himself, before the show went off. And
He plays in
that was very impressive to me to see that.
he does a show play now, Joseph's Coat with Many Colors.
I heard of that the Bible.
Yeah, he's very good in it.
I'm sure he is. Well, everything Donny Osmond ever did was excellent. That whole family, the Jacksons and all those other groups, of that era.
Yeah, they had a lot of boy groups.
Yeah.
Frankie Valley. in the
Yeah,
Four
let's have fun with
Seasons.
Frankie Valley for a second.
Shady, very good. Sherry, can you come out tonight?
Something like that. But yeah, that was always fun watching those groups. And I'm sure they probably have those groups
Probably,
posted
yeah.
now on the computer. So I guess Pee-wee's, this is the most active I've seen her on our show. Well, ladies, we're going to take a break and get ready for part 2 of our Mother's Day special. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is our Mother's Day edition of Asaph Cafe. Our special guest, Miss Candice Chapman, of course, Patty Reed, our hostess, veteran guest.
Treat yourselves, grandmothers and mothers, good from now till the end of May.
Yeah.
No matter what the kids say.
And
Or
our
the husbands.
mascot, Pee-wee. Let's have Pee-wee face the camera one last time before I sign off on this first half of our show.
Here we go. Hello.
And we're on
You
our
go to
new
yourselves,
set of
your mothers
Asaph
and
Cafe,
grandmothers.
so we hope you enjoyed our topics, ladies and gentlemen, for today,
Thank you,
because we
Booty.
talked about a lot of things.
Yes, we did.
And I wanted to take this opportunity to say Happy Mother's Day to Mom here, Lois Stevens. And until our next show, our Mother's Day show, Maranatha.